involved in an orgy.
Up until this point, Fred had found politics kind of boring. Little did he know that within 24 hours, Fred would have the intimate rendezvous of his dreams.
Dear Fred, you don't know me, but this is very important. Please meet me on the top of Tuttle Hill tomorrow at 3 p.m. The outcome of your campaign depends on it. Be sure to come alone.
Blatchley's camp reassigned Jim Wallace to the Tuttle campaign. His orders were to get incontrovertible evidence of Fred Tuttle's debauchery. It was too late for Fred to save himself. Even his handlers couldn't get him out of this one. It appeared his candidacy was over.
Good evening. According to the latest polls, Vermont congressional candidate Fred Tuttle is now deadlocked with incumbent William Blatchley. Both candidates register a 47% preference share, with 6% still undecided. With the polls opening up in less than 24 hours, both Blatchley and Tuttle are expected to be back on the campaign trail today. Good evening, I'm Bruce Lyons, and this is election night coverage. In the race that's captivated Vermont for the past 6 weeks, six-term incumbent Congressman William Blatchley currently leads Regressive Party challenger Fred Tuttle by nearly 10,000 votes. With 34% of the vote counted, Blatchley leads Tuttle 55 to 45%. In the U.S. House race, Fred Tuttle continues to close the gap between himself and incumbent William Blatchley. With 66% of the vote counted, Blatchley clings to a narrow lead, 51% to 49%. Earlier today, Blatchley and Tuttle voted in their hometowns.
Well, we've had another vote, and I think it's going to turn out pretty well for us. We've had to fight against quite a lot of negative campaigning, of course, and I'm sure you've all seen through that. But we're looking forward to another 2 years in Washington. I feel that when we're in Washington, you are too.
I don't feel bad for Bill at all. He's going to get a chance to come back here and live in Vermont. I got to be down in Washington, all that stuff down there, all that liquor and women and everything.
At least one Vermonter hadn't made up his mind. 47-year-old Theo Taplin had voted for Bill Blatchley in the past, but there was something about Fred's plan that he liked, especially the part about R is for renewable.
I've been picking up cans all my life, but I kept track of it 16 and a half years ago, and I got 58,700 of them. Figure that out, 5 cents a piece.
Still, Theo Taplin set out for the polls an undecided voter.
With 233 of Vermont's 251 cities and towns reporting in, incumbent William Blatchley now leads Fred Tuttle of Tunbridge by less than 1,000 votes. We've just got some more towns coming in now. Wilmington, Baltimore, and Washington have just reported in. Athens and Troy both go to Tuttle. Tuttle also wins the towns of Linden and Johnson. No word yet from Holland, Jamaica, or Peru, Vermont.
In theory, democracy works best when informed voters make rational decisions. In the end, Theo Taplin decided to cast his vote for Fred Tuttle. It all came down to a bottle he had found at the side of the road. It was Fred's favorite soda.
With 250 of Vermont's 251 towns reporting in, Congressman Blatchley leads Fred Herman Tuttle by a mere 17 votes. The one town unaccounted for is tiny Victory, Vermont, up in the Northeast Kingdom. What's that? Victory has just been reported in. How many votes? 13 for Blatchley, 31 for Tuttle. Can we get a total on that? Can somebody give me a total? Unofficially, Vermont, you've got a new congressman.
I suspect foul play in this thing, and I'm going to get my lawyer on this. Get rid of that damn thing. I said get that goddamn thing out of here.
Neighbors, we have met here on this rather cold morning to celebrate in victory the election of one of our own to the House of Representatives of the United States Congress, Mr. Fred Tuttle, the Honorable Fred Tuttle at this point. Yes. This is a man who had an impossible dream, but he devised a plan to turn that dream into a reality. And in the election that was held yesterday, we now know that he has been declared the winner by one vote. But that's all it takes is one vote, and this is the way it is.
Congratulations,
Oh,
Fred.
thank you, Barbara.
I'm really proud of you. You did a good job.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Thank
all
you.
your speeches everybody could hear right at the back of the room.
Thank you.
So I think our elocution lessons worked. Do you think it helped you?
Yeah, I think so. What's he
Well,
for?
Now, I think you ought to dress a little better the part for
Oh, I think so,
Washington,
yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I mean, the cap's okay around Tunbridge, but you need to look a little better when you're there with the big people.
Oh, when I go to the big people.
Okay. So maybe you'd like to trade me this for this.
Oh, boy, that's good.
How's that?
When I first started my campaign, I didn't think I had a chance, no chance at all. But then I got hold of my handlers, and my handlers really took over, and they've done a great job for me. I'm going to miss Barbara down there when I go to Washington. I'm going to miss my friend Kermit. They're great to help me. And Priscilla, she's done a lot for me. Euclid done a tremendous lot, and Edgar did an awful lot for me. I mean, if it hadn't been for them, I couldn't have made Washington. Then I'm going to miss my dad. Then I'm going to miss all my animals. Snowball, my cat that sleeps with me every night, and Shayna, the old dog, gets barks if anybody comes at night, and my dog over at the barn, old Brownie, and all my cats over there, and my dad and mother, and I'm going to miss everything. I'm going to miss Vermont. Yeah, I'm really going to miss Vermont. I didn't really want to go to Washington, but the people called collect, and I accepted the charges.
And so the Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill had to make room for a new member from a new party, Fred Herman Tuttle, the man with a plan, the neo-regressive, the horse and buggy candidate, was on his way.
That's the conclusion of
The flowers, that makes your life harder. Fortunately, you find someone who treats the allergy and makes your life easier. Then when you get home, you find your wife eating pizza with the delivery guy. That, once again, makes your life harder.
Make your life easier. Use the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages. It's life, listed alphabetically.
The Toyota Camry has been called the best car built in America, and Consumers Digest has selected it as a best buy. So it's little wonder that the Camry has quickly become America's favorite car. And to celebrate, now you can get special leases and low APR financing on Toyota Camry.
Welcome home. Us at CBS.
Attention all hands. Shift is underway at 1500.
I'm meeting her at some bar downtown. She's supposed to be there at 1300.
That's cutting it close, Camerini. We're out of here at 1500.
What am I supposed to do? It's the only time she had.
Don't miss the last launch.
Don't worry about it. You think I want to get court-martialed?
What are you going to tell her? Yeah, what are you going to say?
I don't know. I'll think of something. I always do. I'm from Brooklyn.
Camerini. Stand easy. Been looking for you. Well, son, it was a hard-fought series. And bums have nothing to be ashamed of. Well, Camerini. You have anything to say? Gentlemen, we get underway at 1500.
Oh, man.
Sure, you'll think of something to say.
Yeah, you always do. You're from Brooklyn.
His full name is Daniel Ascom Cruz.
Ascom?
It's a long story. The men fell for him right away.
I can see how that happened. Oh, what a lucky little guy.
The plan was to take him back to the States and place him in an orphanage, but we can't get him a visa into the U.S., so when we get back to Korea, he's going to have to stay there.
Does the crew know?
No, the captain decided not to tell him till we get back to Incheon. He didn't want to ruin their R&R.
I think it's very sad.
See, Jen, this is why I didn't tell you, because I knew that it would remind you and that it would make you sad.
I'm supposed to be sad. You're supposed to be sad.
I am.
You are? I don't hear it in your voice. I don't feel it in your letters. Let go of the pain, you said. In the face of personal tragedy, we must gather ourselves together and move on. Don't you see? If we can't admit that we lost our children, but I'm losing you because you won't feel this with me.
Jen, you have to go ashore in just a few minutes.
I can't believe you have to go back to Korea the day I get here.
We had no idea when the next Indian ship was going to arrive.
Well, what happens now? You want me to go home, don't you?
What about your health? Did George Randall really clear you to travel?
I'm fine. I don't need anybody to clear me. I'm not in the Navy.
You're going to be alone. What are you going to do for 2 weeks?
I'm alone all the time in Seattle. I've spent most of my married life alone. I always find something to do.
I'm worried about you.
But I went camping in the Cascades by myself. I hiked my own trails, pitched my own tent, caught my very own fish in Chelan Lake, and somehow survived and made it back to Seattle. I think I can handle 2 weeks in Japan.
You caught fish in Lake Chelan. We fished Lake Chelan for 3 days before we were married and never caught anything.
I caught you.
I'll see you back here in a few weeks.
American Baby Home for Christmas. It's got to be one of the best stories of the war, Christine. It's got to be.
And you think if, and I stress the word if, I write this story, and if, see, there's that word again. My paper runs it that people will contact the Point Crews wanting to adopt Danny when you get him to America.
That's the idea. So, will you do it?
I don't know. I do hard news, Camerini, war stories, big loud stuff that grabs the whole country.
This is the heartstrings of America, Christine. It don't get any bigger than that.
You don't have a visa.
No problem. Captain Hayward's working on that.
Hayward. Oh, John T. Hayward. I knew that name rang a bell. They're honoring him at a dinner in Seoul for Operation Platform.
Oh, man, I gotta go. Look, Christine, just write the story, huh? Do it for Danny. People see this face, they're gonna line up to take him home. Look, I gotta go.
Captain, the Vauxhall reports the anchor is secured for sea.
Very well, let's get underway. All ahead, 1/3.
All ahead 1/3? All ahead 1/3, aye, sir. Camerini never made it back, sir.
I have seen the crew list, Mr. Bentley. But there are 4,000 Indian soldiers sitting in Incheon Harbor. My orders are to get us there immediately. Nothing I can do.
Aye, sir. Small boat approaching on the port quarter, Captain.
It's a fishing boat.
All stop.
All stop. All stop. Aye, sir.
Have them put a Jacob's ladder over on the fantail and tell Camarina to meet me on the flight deck in 10 minutes.
Aye, sir.
You get a load of Camerini.
Oh, you smell terrible.
Man, that's bad.
Dead fish.
Ah.
Camerini, any sailor who would go to this much trouble to get himself court-martialed is the kind of man we need in the Navy. Get yourself cleaned up, son. Report for duty.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Dismissed.
Mr. Nixon, there's someone here we would like you to meet. Mr. Vice President, Captain John T. Hayward of the USS Point Crews. Chick, Vice President Nixon.
Mr. Vice President, it is an honor.
And this is Father Riley, Point Crews chaplain.
Mr. Vice President.
Nice to meet you. Captain, I want to thank you for the good work you did, getting the Indian Army into the prisoners' camp. You got us out of a tough spot there, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Have you heard about the captain's baby, Mr. Vice President?
Not my baby, sir. I haven't been ashore long.
Oh, now, come on, Chick. We're all calling your ship the Pregnant Cruise.
What baby are we talking about?
An abandoned baby, sir, half American. He's been aboard the ship since the end of the war.
It means a lot to the men, sir. We're trying to get him back to the United States. We cannot get a visa.
Why not?
Consulate says it's a 3-year wait, sir.
Nonsense. Tell the consulate Vice President Nixon says this baby gets a visa before the Point cruise leaves for Japan. Thanks again, Captain.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
The captain's baby.
Need a microwave to pop things into?
Brush is just flat. You put it in there.
Sears' largest capacity Kenmore microwave is at its lowest price ever. Just $139.99. And it's the most powerful you can buy.
Kids! Husband! Your popcorn's ready.
So pop into Sears.
They need some food.
This dress is definitely dangerous.
No matter what's your favorite look.
It looks like,
Help keep that look by including Kellogg's Special K. Great toasted taste, 110 calories, and fat-free.
I like what I'm seeing.
Kellogg's Special K. Great taste never looks so good.
Thank you.
He sent me a toothbrush in the mail. It felt like 1,000 little fingers massaging my gums.
This is the Oral Care Brush from Mentadent.
It felt great.
It doesn't just clean teeth, it's designed to massage and stimulate your gums. The Oral Care Brush from Mentadent.
I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. In my heart I have but one desire, and that one is you. No other will do.
Beef, it's what you want.
Hey, the road ahead awaits you. The SuperGuard 60 with warranty starting at 60,000 miles is on sale now at Sears. Roll me west. SuperGuard 60 on sale now at Sears.
Monday. Three armed men will hit a bank.
Grab a hostage.
One of them is a cop.
Terry's undercover. Wow.
See why Brooklyn South is the most explosive drama of the season.
Terry Doyle!
Don't miss an all-new Brooklyn South, CBS Monday.
Welcome aboard, sir. And happy Thanksgiving, Admiral.
Thanks, Chick. Same to you.
Gonna be able to stay and have dinner with us? We got turkey and all the trimmings.
Oh, I'd like to, but we've got some people coming over later today. And Chick, I want you restocked and ready to leave for San Diego in 3 days.
3 days, yes, sir.
There's a rumor going around you've got an abandoned baby on board this ship you're planning to take back to the States. Is that true?
Yes, sir. Would you like to meet him?
Maybe later. Listen, Chick. This goes against every regulation in the book. I don't want to be the bad guy here, but you're in Japan. This baby's in my harbor. So before we go any further, I'm going to contact Admiral Carney in Washington. You have any problem with that?
No, sir. No problem.
So, how are the wife and kids?
Fine, sir. Just fine. Kids are growing up fast.
I forget, how many do you have?
5.
Your own basketball team.
Yeah.
Remove baby from Point Cruz immediately. I'm sorry, Chick.
Did you hear from that reporter?
Nah,
Think she even wrote that story?
who knows? What's it matter now anyways? Freaking Navy. We just fought a war for them.
Yeah, and they sure forgot all about us in a big hurry.
Never felt so double-crossed my whole life.
Came today. Addressed to Danny, care of the USS Point Cruz. I thought you might like to see them. Gentlemen, I took the liberty of opening one to the crew of the USS Point Cruz. I cried as I read the article about Danny in the Baltimore Post.
She wrote it.
My heart went out to him, and to all of you as well. My husband and I will always have room in our home for a baby as special as Danny. And we would love to adopt him when he arrives in the United States. But it goes on like that from there. And I would guess that the rest are much the same.
Yeah, well, that's just great, Father. What good does it do Danny now? We gotta get him off the ship, don't we?
So, that's it then, is it? You give up, and Danny goes back to Korea.
What are we supposed to do?
It makes me mad as well. In fact, it makes me so angry I don't know what to do or I don't know where to turn. And then I hear something. A glorious voice in my heart and soul.
It's God.
No, it's my mother. All the way from Ireland. And you know what she's saying? She's saying, Edward, don't be mad. Be productive. Gentlemen, there are lots of ways to get Danny off the ship. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, lots of ways. All right, come on, you guys. How much dough you got on you? Come on, let's go. Thank you, Father.
Oh, don't thank me, Camarini. Thank my mother.
Bring it down. All right, listen up, everybody. I'm passing the hat for Danny. The Navy wants him off the ship. We're gonna get him off this ship. Let's go. Come on, tough it up. Come on, you got more in your pocket. Here's some more.
Oh, you're such a big boy now. Yes, you are. 4 months old? 4 months old already? Oh, so many people love you, Danny. Yes, they do. The water is wide. I cannot cross over. And neither
Where's the nurse?
Oh, I told him I'd watch Danny so he could go and eat with his friends. I didn't think he'd mind. He knows my voice. He looks around whenever he hears it.
You've spent every day with him since we got back from Korea.
Look how well he holds his head up. Oh, he's such a big, strong guy. Hey, we'll get you some new clothes. And you can eat Thanksgiving dinner with all your friends.
Jen, we can't have this baby. It's against the law. No armed forces personnel can adopt a foreign child. I'm a commissioned officer.
I know. You're a career Navy man from a distinguished family of career Navy men.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that you love Danny as much as I do, but you're not willing to accept it.
I'm not willing to give up my life. This is who I am.
What about who I am? What about who we are together?
You should never have gotten so attached to him.
You make it sound like a disease. Getting attached, becoming emotionally involved. something you can surgically remove and repair.
That's not what I meant.
Life isn't surgery, Bud. It isn't precise. It isn't neat and clean. It doesn't always work out the way you wanted it to, the way you planned for it to. You have to be willing to change. You have to be open. We are the perfect people to adopt Danny, and you know it.
It's not gonna happen.
Tell me that you don't want this baby. Tell me that you don't love this baby. Tell me you don't feel it in your heart.
What I feel doesn't matter. It's against regulations.
Oh, how easy that is for you. If you can't face it, you hide behind the rule book.
That isn't true.
Yes, it is. If it isn't the Navy's rule book, it's the Keenan's. You don't always have to do what your father and your grandfather did. Sometimes you have to follow your own heart.
My family is important to me.
What about our family?
I won't give up my career for Danny.
I know.
Nothing against your friend, Captain. It's just Danny deserves a real home.
We should have told you first. We know that.
Yes, you should have told me.
$1,500, Skipper. We passed the hat. Everybody in the crew gave something. We want to put Danny on an airplane and send him home.
Navy said get him off the ship. We figured that's how we had to do it.
Danny's visa allows him to travel from Korea to the United States, not from Korea to Japan. Now, I have been back and forth with the Japanese consulate in Seoul about this all day. They are not going to cooperate. I can't land Danny in this country.
Well, then we'll take him back to Korea and get him on a plane there.
It's too late. We leave day after tomorrow. Our orders came through.
I could take him.
Danny's going back to Korea, but he's not getting on any plane for the States. The Pentagon didn't just say get him off the ship. They said turn him over to Korean authorities. They're supposed to pick him up at the base. According to regulations, Danny is not Navy business.
He has no chance in Korea. No life at all.
You boys go through these letters, and you choose a home for Danny. I don't know how we're going to get around all this, but if I have to swim that boy back to America myself, I am not sending him back to Korea. Go on with you.
Sears has the jewelry you want for the ones you love on sale. Like this half-carat diamond necklace, just $299.99.
Come see the merry side of Sears.
Now there's important news about relieving the aches and fever from the flu. In new guidelines, what pain reliever do flu experts prefer the most? The one you've trusted all along. The medicine in extra-strength Tylenol. Tylenol, the first choice for flu relief.
Happy holidays, Dave.
Same to you, Red.
I think you'll find this spicy chicken sandwich spicier than yours.
Not bad. But remember this?
Wendy's Spicy Chicken is seasoned with Dave's own blend of pepper and spices for that spicy hit you crave.
So?
So, you got any more in the bag?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right.
Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich. It can warm up anybody.
Say, hey, jingle bells, jingle.
Whoa! Oops.
heavens.
I'm a thrill seeker, mister. Impress me.
Well, I'm an elf.
You expect me to fall for that?
Maybe you'll fall for a club cracker.
I risked wind shear and migrating fowl for a cracker?
Our club crackers are so light and buttery, they're nothing short of amazing.
Wow, so buttery. Unbelievable. People must love these.
Yes, sir. They drop in all the time.
Really? How do they get down? Club crackers. Uncommonly good.
Okay, now take an ornament. It's your first apartment. It's your first tree.
How about this one?
Oh, Fluffy Bear. Oh, honey, he's been on our tree since you were 4.
I can pick another one.
Okay, thanks. Something special.
Oh, it's the first one you gave me.
But, honey, it's the first one we gave you.
What about this one?
Oh, little biker.
With memories this special, you may need more than one Hallmark keepsake ornament.
Here's a brand new one for you to keep.
Thanks, Mom.
Do you mind if we keep it here? I mean, it's such a milestone, your first tree and all.
This holiday season, get Prime Star Satellite TV for just $99. It's Prime Star's holiday gift pack, and it includes the dish you don't have to buy, installation, our revolutionary Prime Finder remote, and an ultra-cool Disney Channel watch, all for only $99. This holiday, there's no better deal than Prime Star.
That's right.
Call 1-800-PRIME-STAR now or visit your local Radio Shack.
Better hurry up.
Offer expires December 31st.
Bye-bye.
Will a U.S. attorney jeopardize a federal sting?
What the hell are you doing?
To prove the key witness is a murderer?
You're gonna pay for this one.
David Caruso is Michael Hayes, CBS Tuesday. Saturday, January 3rd. We're bringing back the adventure.
I hear you fellas are headed for a fight.
The drama. And the heroes of one of the greatest westerns of all time.
Double or nothing.
The Magnificent Seven premieres Saturday, January 3rd on CBS.
We make dreams come true. We're dream weavers.
You want your mommy?
We can't afford to be tired or have a bad day. Those kids are here for one reason and one reason only, to see us. That's why these moments are so important. Hot cup of coffee, nice holiday donut, puts you in the right frame of mind.
Showtime, Jerry.
This holiday season, take home a pound of Dunkin' Donuts coffee for $3.99.
A sumptuous heart of hazelnut and a light, crispy wafer covered in milk chocolate and toasted nuts. Rocher, unwrap a little luxury.
The American Red Cross is asking you to give the best gift of all this holiday season, the gift of life. Please give blood during this holiday season. It's safe, simple, and only takes about an hour of your time. The need for blood never takes a holiday, and when you give blood from December 15th through the end of the year at the Blood Center in Burlington and at scheduled blood drives, you can give one more gift. Blood donors can sign a card attached to a cute, cuddly teddy bear. The bears will go to sick or needy children and nursing homes, just in time for the holidays. Call 1-800-GIVE-LIFE for times and dates.
Rosie's having a holiday celebrity celebration all month long.
It's now officially Christmas season, right?
Next, Rosie, get into the holiday spirit with friend star Courtney Cox, actor Anthony LaPaglia, and from TV's early edition, Kyle Chandler.
Let the games begin! You love Christmas, don't you?
It's Rosie O'Donnell's holiday celebrity celebration. All month long on the Rosie O'Donnell Show.
Tomorrow at 4 on Channel 3. You're watching Channel 3, WCAX, Burlington.
Winter Games return to CBS. Share a moment with the world.
Sorry to bother you at home, Admiral, but we leave for San Diego tomorrow afternoon. I know Admiral Carney. I want to call him again.
I know Mick Carney too, Chick. And what I know most about him is he doesn't like anyone questioning his orders.
It was midnight in Washington the last time we tried it.
Oh, for Pete's sake, Chick, it's midnight here.
Which means it's 0900 at the Pentagon. Admiral Carney's at his desk right now.
Request denied.
I will take full responsibility.
Carney's orders were addressed to me. I'm the one who takes responsibility in this harbor. I'm the one who will be questioning the Chief Admiral, the whole damn Navy.
But, sir, what I'm saying is maybe it wasn't Carney's order. It was midnight. Maybe the Admiral was at home in bed. Maybe some lieutenant commander got that message. Danny is against regulations, so he makes a decision. Gets his chance to be a Pentagon big shot.
So he sends out an order in Carney's name, without checking with the Chief Admiral first. You're grasping at straws here, Chick.
Naval...
Sure, in 5 minutes.
I'll be right there.
Honey.
I'm okay. Go.
Enjoyed meeting your wife. Seemed like the two of you had a nice visit.
It was good to see her.
She certainly did get on with Danny.
Yes, she did.
My mother's name is Genevieve. You didn't know that, did you? No. Not that common a name, really. I find it quite a coincidence.
She wanted me to resign my commission so we could adopt Danny.
What did you say?
I said no. This is my life. This is who I am. If I'm not a naval surgeon, then who am I, right?
Yes.
Anyway, then she changed her mind. Said she loved me too much to ask me to change my life.
And how did that make you feel?
Like I let her down. Like I let Danny down. Whichever way I turn these days, I feel like I'm disappointing somebody, especially myself. No easy answer, is there?
Easy, no. But there is an answer. Somewhere in your heart, there's an answer waiting to be discovered.
What if I can't discover it?
Well, that's where faith comes in. We have to have faith that when we can't find the answer in ourselves, God will show us the truth.
Thank you, Father.
For what?
For listening.
My pleasure. Maybe we'll even catch something before we shove off. Oh, yes. The men came to me a few hours ago. They decided on a mother and father for Danny. They chose you, Doctor, and Jen. Well, they made a second choice to be safe. But they want Danny to be part of your family. I thought you'd like...
Disney's Flubber has bounced into McDonald's and theaters, and now you can waltz away with a tempting triple cheese. Get you moving? Go Flubber, go Flubber.
Welcome to Burgerama. Yeah, I'd like a large coffee. Oh, and make sure the lid's on tight this time.
Candace, is that you?
Yeah.
So is it true that now on weekends the Sprint cents dime a minute rate is good all the way to the UK and Canada?
Well, yeah, it is.
So theoretically I could call all 50 states, the UK and Canada, and it would be just 10 cents a minute?
That's right.
Wow, the Queen's gonna be totally stoked.
Call now for 10 cents a minute to the UK and Canada all weekend.
Grand cinnamon rolls from Pillsbury.
They're ready.
The most enormous, ooey gooey, luscious.
Should we wake the others?
Let them sleep.
Now with more cinnamon.
They're not just big, they're grand.
Have
yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. Next year, all our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Glade Holiday Candle Scents.
Yuletide gay.
Created by nature.
All our troubles
Captured by Glade.
miles away.
The Quilted Northern Quilters.
First day?
Yes, I'm really nervous.
Don't worry, doll. Just keep quilting.
Because that's what makes Quilted Northern so absorbent. Absorbent? I thought it was quilted to be pretty. It's quilted to create thousands of quilted places for moisture to go.
Not like those flat as a pancake sheets made down the street. All that absorbency leaves you feeling clean.
Nice job, dear. Thanks.
Quilted Northern. Quilted to absorb.
Who's the next name on my list? What's that special someone's wish? That one gift I've got to find. I know the place and now the time. Tears brings the season, the gifts of joy and hope and cheer. I find it all right here. Come see the merry side of Sears.
Monday.
So you're right in there.
Letter to your mother.
Witness the ultimate showdown.
Oh, my God.
It's daughter-in-law versus mother-in-law.
I'm in.
So grab a ringside seat.
You think I'm intrusive? Critical?
You're my favorite writer.
For an all-new Raymond, right after Cosby, CBS Monday.
When a teacher tries to help a boy to read,
Words give you trouble?
why would his father stand in the way?
You leave him alone.
All new Promised Land, CBS Thursday.
Thanks, America, for making CBS #1. More people are watching CBS than any other network.
Introducing Rapid Driver, the most amazing tool ever. This monster would twist your wrist off the old way. With Rapid Driver, just pull the trigger and it powers it in so fast and easy. Push button. Rapid Driver now works in reverse. No batteries, no electricity. This is Rapid Driver. This is a cordless tool. Watch this. Rapid Driver works twice as fast as the cordless tool. Isn't that amazing? Rapid Driver works in all those difficult places with the greatest of ease. Work above your head without breaking your back. Interchange with socket adapter. Use this incredible Rapid Driver to power in nuts and bolts, or push button and it works in reverse. Rapid Driver, a must for every handyman. This amazing tool even works as a ratchet. Comes with a 5-year warranty and carrying case. Rapid Driver, complete with 6 interchangeable screwdrivers, 4 sockets, socket adapter, and carrying case. A 12-piece set for only $19.95 from K-Tel.
Available at participating Canadian Tires, Zellers, Walmart, The Bay, Kmart, Home Hardware, Pro Hardware, Novaco.
It's about a visit from Jamie's parents.
Did you take a cracker?
No. It's about small talk and big headaches.
Tell her about the grill I bought you.
Mom bought me a new grill.
And surviving some cutting remarks.
These single servings are convenient, but they're much too expensive.
She'll be dead in 5 years.
On the next Mad About You.
Sunday at 11 on Channel 3.
The address is Channel 3. Welcome home.
Afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, Doctor.
Captain, you told me there was a line I couldn't cross. But the problem is that the line just keeps moving. I want to adopt Danny, sir. I want a discharge from the Navy.
You're willing to give up your career for this baby?
It's not just for Danny. It's for Jen. And it's for me.
Come.
Are you busy, Captain?
Just last-minute
reports, in triplicate, of course. Paperwork will be the death of me, Father, that I know. I sent this out about an hour ago.
Or to the Chief of Naval Personnel from the Captain USS Brent Cruz. I respectfully request a full and immediate discharge from the naval service and a complete return to civilian life on behalf of Dr. Hugh Keenan upon arrival of Point Cruz in San Diego. He decided to adopt Danny.
And he did? And you planned this thing from the very beginning, didn't you?
No. I can take credit for the plan. That comes from the main office.
Ah.
Well, maybe I did help it along. Captain. Come to say goodbye. You'll be busy when we dock, and then I don't know when I'll see you.
Oh, well, yeah.
Camerini. Father Riley tells me you're headed straight back to Brooklyn.
No place like home, Skipper.
Well, we can't have you walking around there without this.
Thank you, Captain. Skipper. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Camerini.
Dr. Hugh Keenan is hereby detached from all active duty and returned to civilian life upon his arrival in San Diego. Oh, congratulations, Hugh.
Thank you, Father. It's hard to believe. The captain gave it to me this morning. He called the Pentagon a dozen times. Must have been tough for him to get, but he did it.
By embracing the challenge.
By refusing to fail.
Yeah.
Permission to go ashore, sir.
Permission granted.
Nothing like getting home Christmas Day, huh?
Nothing like it.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas, thank you.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Everybody's friend, Courtney Cox, college football star Peyton Manning, and country's Shania Twain. Monday on Dave.
1,000 Men and a Baby. Sponsored by Sears. Come see the merry side of Sears.
Tough headache? Yeah. There's some Tylenol in here. I have this. Oh, no, that has caffeine in it. Really? My doctor told me to cut back on caffeine. I didn't know my pain reliever had caffeine in it. He said some have more than a cup of coffee. Well, Tylenol works great without the caffeine. Here it is.
There's no caffeine in Tylenol, only the pure proven pain reliever doctors recommend most.
Hey, let's get some coffee. Decaf. Okay.
Welcome home for the holidays on CBS. Hallmark Hall of Fame presents
My mama's dead and my daddy's in jail.
one girl's inspirational journey.
I didn't want you to begin with. Nobody wants you. The beats me, a white person can't live with whoever they like best.
To find the love of a family.
Honey, we would take you in a minute if we could.
And a place to call home.
You're a keeper.
Jenna Malone, from the best-selling book, Hallmark Hall of Fame's Ellen Foster. CBS next Sunday.
Monday, 3 armed men will hit a bank.
Cool.
On the Channel 3 News tonight, Jody Williams wins the Nobel Peace Prize and wins the heart of Norwegians. We'll have a live report from Oslo. This march at UVM may have prompted racist hate mail, and a cultural exchange between Vermont and Austria begins in the kitchen.
There are winter storm warnings in effect, but they are not for us.
And the Red Sox open the vault for Pedro Martinez.
Good evening, I'm Marcellus Parsons. This was a big day for a Vermonter. Her life by the world. Jody Williams accepted the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo, the community of nations honoring the woman from Putney who led the campaign to outlaw landmines. Anson Tebbetts and Steve Longchamp are in Oslo with her. They have this report on the ceremony this morning.
In an elegant ceremony in Oslo, Norway, Vermont native Jody Williams today received the Nobel Peace Prize, along with her group, the International Campaign to Ban Landmines. Williams was instrumental in getting 122 countries to sign a treaty aimed at banning anti-personnel landmines. She called that treaty a gift to future generations.
We're certainly proud of the treaty, and we're proud of the recognition of the Nobel Committee for that treaty and for this effort, and the hope that it actually is a model, that we actually are a superpower and can change the world.
The part-time Putney resident spoke for about 20 minutes, using no notes, addressing the King and Queen of Norway, ambassadors, and business leaders of Norway. At one point, she recognized her parents, saying, "Hello, Mom and Dad." John and Ruth Williams of Brattleboro are here for the week, as well as sisters Mary Beth and Janet. Her parents called their daughter's speech awesome, saying Jody is a very positive person, and the speech went off well. Williams now joins the ranks of other Nobel laureates, such as Teddy Roosevelt, Mother Teresa, and Martin Luther King. It's a title she hopes to use to further her cause of banning anti-personnel landmines.
It's obviously been an emotional day in Oslo. Jody Williams won not only the Nobel Peace Prize, but she also won the hearts of a number of Norwegians who marched through the capital city. Anson Tebbetts is still up. It is about midnight there now. Anson, tell us about the day after the ceremony.
Well, today's noble event wrapping up, Marcellus. A formal dinner at the Grand Hotel here in Oslo is coming to an end with about 300 guests in attendance. Just prior to that formal dinner, a number of students lit torches and paraded down the streets from the National Theater to the hotel. This is an annual tradition, and the students were met by a number of folks with the International Campaign to Ban Landmines. Jody Williams thanked them all. She was above in the balcony of the Grand Hotel, looking down upon them and waving and thanking very much about coming out at night and making this a very festive event here tonight in Oslo.
Any reaction from the people of Norway to the ceremony? It really seems to have captured their hearts?
Yes, it has captured their hearts, and as we look to the future here, right now it's just to document this treaty, but there's going to be a slight dilemma for the United States here. When the treaty is ratified, it becomes international law. The United States has stockpiles of anti-personnel landmines on the soil here in Oslo. Now, under the treaty, those landmines will have to go. So the United States is sort of in a sticky point. Another country that will probably be more affected will be Germany as well. And the foreign minister told us that he's informed the United States that those landmines at some point are going to have to go.
Tell us about next week, Anson. We're looking forward to a 5-part series.
Looking forward to that. It's been a wonderful week of images and wonderful pictures from this very festive time of year here in Oslo. We got a chance to talk with Jody a couple of times. We'll also speak with her parents and her aunt and uncle from Pulteney are here, her 2 sisters. They're all here. It's a very, very special week for them to see Jody receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And we'll talk with the Norwegians. We also spoke with the American ambassador about some of the issues that the Americans have, and we'll have that all for you next week here on the Channel 3 News.
Okay. Anson Tebbetts live in Oslo, Norway. Thank you very much. He is with photographer Steve Longchamp, and their series, Peace of Mind, begins on the Channel 3 News next Monday night. Safe trip, Anson. We'll look forward to seeing you back here in Vermont. Here in Vermont, another anti-landmine activist was rejoicing over Jody Williams' Nobel Peace Prize. Senator Patrick Leahy spent part of this afternoon at his alma mater, St. Michael's College. He was speaking to the students about the fight to ban the weapons. Leahy told the students that today was an extraordinarily proud day for Vermonters and for the rest of the world because of what was happening in Norway. The senator pointed to last week's treaty signing in Ottawa and this week's award of the Nobel Peace Prize to Jody Williams as proof that the issue of landmines has been successfully stamped on the conscience of the world. He still criticized the United States for not signing the treaty and said there's much left to be done on this issue.
First, we've got to help the people. We have to help the people who have been victims of landmines to get them arms and legs and wheelchairs. Secondly, we have got to make sure the treaty itself to ban landmines is enforced and is enlarged, and that means having all nations, including our own nation, sign that treaty. And then thirdly, we must begin the arduous, difficult, horrendous task of removing the tens of millions of landmines that are in the ground now.
Leahy said he has not given up hope the United States will sign the treaty. He urged Vermonters to be involved with the fight against landmines when he spoke at St. Michael's College. At the University of Vermont, police there were busy today looking into another racial incident. This time it is a hate letter sent to the university's Department of Multicultural Affairs. Kristen Kelly has been following this story. She joins us live from the newsroom with more on that. Kristen?
Marcellus, the Multicultural Affairs Department is an on-campus resource center for students of color. Yesterday, the center received a signed letter filled with language that university officials call horrendous and racist, and they say investigators are taking the incident very seriously.
A lot of very offensive, racist language, words that, frankly, I wouldn't care to read again. The tone and the invective in the letter indicates that it was written by somebody who was disturbed.
UVM police say the letter is directed towards blacks and is not addressed to one specific person, but the whole Multicultural Affairs Department.
Racist rats have got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
Last week, department members joined students to protest the Acacia fraternity, which is under investigation for an alleged racist hazing last month. The department also came out against the fraternity's letter apologizing for the incident, calling it insincere. Officials don't know whether last week's events triggered the hate letter.
No direct connection that we know of yet, but again, the investigation's continuing.
Now, neither the Multicultural Affairs Department nor the UVM Police Department would speak on camera, but police did tell me they have consulted with the FBI on this issue. And at this point, they do not believe a crime was committed because the letter does not contain a specific threat. They are taking the letter very seriously, however. The police chief says it brings up some definite safety issues because the language in the letter was so severe, and he's concerned it could be phase one of a bigger problem. Marcellus?
Kristen, you said the letter was signed. What have they said about that?
Well, Marcellus, police won't reveal who signed the letter because the investigation is ongoing, but the letter was postmarked in Vermont outside Chittenden County, and investigators are now working to try to figure out what, if any, connection this person may have to the university.
Okay, Kristen Kelly in the newsroom, thank you. Service and maintenance workers at the University of Vermont are voting right now on whether they should join a union. If the union wins, it will be the first union ever in the history of UVM. University employees began working toward unionization about 18 months ago. More than 60% of the 325 service and maintenance workers signed their union cards. That's double the amount they needed to hold a vote today. People coming out of the polls who agreed to speak on camera said they voted for the union.
I voted yes because we need a union here to ensure our benefits in the future and to increase our wages.
I voted for the union. I think there's some issues we need to address. We've tried to address over the years, and this is going to be a way to give us a say in some things that are going on that we're concerned about.
The polls at the university are open until 7:30. We'll have the results of the union vote on our late news tonight at 11. Sharon's over at the weather map looking at a storm, but apparently it's not going to affect the North Country?
Now, this one does look as though it's going to carry most of its moisture offshore to the south of us. The latest radar is showing some snow moving up through some of the central parts of New York State. It's even thinking about moving into some of the southern counties of Vermont. But We're not expecting any heavy snow, particularly in the northern regions. This is where the watches and warnings are in effect, well to the south of our region. So, taking a closer look at what we are expecting for tonight, we are expecting to see a little bit of snow, mainly in the southern areas, south of Rutland and White River Junction. Lows will be in the teens. Then daytime highs for tomorrow will be in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees. A few breaks of sun here in the north, but more clouds and perhaps a little more snow for those of you in the south. Now, there is another disturbance that's going to be following along fairly quickly, though, and this one does look like it's going to be bringing some snow into all regions later in the week. We'll have the latest on that later in the broadcast. Marcellus?
Thanks, Sharon. We'll be looking for that at about 6:30. Coming up next, a new Vermont law is making it tougher for teenagers to bite off everything they'd like to chew.
Continuing education is important to me because I work in a high-tech business and I need to learn constantly just to keep up.
Having a degree from Champlain College means that I will be able to advance in my career.
Continuing education is important to me because I think it's one of the best ways that I can help myself realize my personal and professional goals.
If you're looking for a college that offers flexibility and relevant programs, Champlain's the place to go.
Where is everybody?
They've gone to Grandma's.
Without me? But it's the holidays.
They tried to page you. Oh, you should have had contact.
Wait, come back. I'll switch.
Call Contact today and get a free gift-wrapped pager, free voicemail, and free conversion.
Hey, buddy. Happy holidays.
Contact pager.
Hi, Sam Cutting here from Dakin Farm, home of Vermont's finest smoked meat, cheese, and maple syrup for nearly 40 years. Our most popular product around holiday time is our mouth-watering, maple-glazed, spiral-sliced ham. Bone-in or boneless, they're cob-smoked, fully cooked, and ready for your holiday table. Sample these delicious, easy-to-serve hams for yourself on Route 7 in Ferrisburg and our brand-new store in South Burlington. Stop by and bring home or send a genuine Vermont product to share with friends from across town or across the country, made with 2 generations of family pride at Dakin Farm.
You can see it in a child's eyes. It's the magic of the holidays. A time to be thankful for what you have and what you can give. Your time, your love, and the wonderful gifts you carefully select. Burlington Square Mall is here to help with your holiday gift giving, featuring over 65 festively decorated stores, some that are very well known and some that are one of a kind. See the magic of the holidays. Burlington Square Mall is here to help.
Another state-run tobacco sting has produced some encouraging results. A statewide compliance survey found that more than 90% of the stores in Vermont would not sell chewing tobacco to minors. David Vance has more on that story.
Most stores in Vermont don't fool around when it comes to checking IDs, even for tobacco products. That's what the Vermont Liquor Control Department learned in a statewide sting operation. Officials say it's not an easy test, and it's not supposed to be. It's the law.
What we do is we recruit young people between the ages of 15 and 17 to enter the establishments and attempt to purchase tobacco products. And that's what we did in this particular sting.
Minors working for the Liquor Control Department hit more than 200 stores across the state, and the vast majority of them were turned away. The sting was most successful in Windham County, where 4 of 17 stores checked sold to minors.
With most of the recent emphasis falling on stopping underage drinking and smoking, the Liquor Control Board threw retailers a curveball by checking for chewing tobacco violations. Officials were pleasantly surprised to find compliance at 92%, as high as the result from last spring's cigarette sting.
Results were very satisfying to us. We sampled 219 licensees. 202 didn't sell, and 17 did sell for about a 8% sales rate to minors, which was very convincing.
Many store owners were not as surprised by the results as state officials.
We're thorough with everything we sell, but especially with tobacco products, because we don't want them to fall into the hands of minors. So what we do here is that if we would ID for beer and wine, which is 21, we would ID for tobacco products, which gives us a 3-year safety net.
Stores that do violate the law face civil penalties and can eventually lose their licenses to sell tobacco. And while state officials say they were happy with their most recent sting results, They say those numbers can and will get even better through tougher enforcement. David Vance, Channel 3 News, Rutland.
The city of Burlington has been waging what seems like a losing battle against vandals with spray paint cans. City officials are now redoubling their efforts because a mural has been defaced with graffiti. This wall was covered with graffiti until the City Arts Council commissioned a local artist to paint it over. But the graffiti soon reappeared on the rooftop mural. This is an example of public art. City Arts paid the artist $4,000, partly funded by the taxpayers. The arts supporters admit that it may not have looked like art.
A mural like Rachel Comey's is, it's a subtle kind of work. It's just a rhythmic, two-tone, really simple, what she calls a resting place for the eyes. And we have a responsibility to sort of educate the public and those who might graffiti over it that this is a carefully planned and executed work of art.
If you have a broken window, if you have graffiti, if you have litter, you must fix it immediately. If not, it sends out a message that this is not a caring community and deviant behavior is acceptable.
Burlington City Arts is offering a $100 reward to anybody who will identify the culprit who sprayed graffiti on the mural downtown. Still ahead on tonight's Channel 3 News, Vermont and Austria are about to embark on an educational exchange. Their aim is a world-class workforce.
Celebrate the miracle of the season on the Church Street Marketplace.
Find great gift ideas at The Frame Game. The Frame Game can help you choose the right mat and frame with same-day service right through Christmas. There's a huge selection of frames and prints at the best prices. Combining your treasured picture, photo, or needlepoint with their frame will make the holidays so special. Come in this morning, it's ready by afternoon, only at The Frame Game.
Be part of the miracle on Church Street this holiday season.
This is Imagine TV.
All right. Who was the guy in the Mercury? Not talking, eh?
With up to $2,000 cash back or as low as 1.9 financing, all the clues point to 97 Mercury Grand Marquis or 97 Sable Sedan or Wagon. Track down $2,000 cash back or 1.9 financing at your New England Mercury dealer.
So you're the stool pigeon. I should have known.
Till next time, imagine yourself in a Mercury.
Tonight's stock report is brought to you by the Essex Outlet Fair. Save on your favorite national brands at factory direct pricing. The Essex Outlet Fair, located at Route 15 and 289 Exit 10.
In downtown Barrie.
In today's sophisticated marketplace, the slightest glitch in the flow of information can cripple your business. Fortunately, one communications giant is fielding the solution. Whether your business is large or small, Bell Atlantic can help you expand your information pipeline, eliminating potential bottlenecks and ensuring a steady stream of success. Wild things are happening. Bell Atlantic. We'll see you there.
Later this week, the state of Vermont's going to sign a formal agreement with the government of Austria. It is an agreement aimed at improving the global workforce through a cultural exchange. The program is going to be sending students, teachers, employers, and even parents overseas in both directions. The Austrians arrived in Vermont last night. Today, Bridget Barry Caswell caught up with some of them at the Essex Technical Center.
This is the Child Care and Human Services program. As you can see, these students learn about children, about early childhood development, about psychology, about education.
This is the Austrians' first look at some of Vermont's hands-on educational training programs. About 350 students, both teenagers and adults, come to the Essex Technical Center each year to study numerous fields of interest, including dentistry, medical record keeping, auto mechanics, culinary skills, and business technology.
We try to set it up like a business so that the students have their own cubicles, their own workstations.
But in Austria, students get even more real-life work experience at even earlier ages. Nearly 50% of their student population enters apprenticeship programs beginning at age 15. They end up with a highly skilled workforce because the students are properly trained and ready to work. And that's one of the areas Vermont hopes to learn more about as this state and the country of Austria embark on an educational exchange.
Let me borrow from the Austrians. The Austrians say their major natural resource is the skills of their workforce. And in Vermont, I think we're recognizing the same thing, is that people are going to expand here, economic development is going to come here because of the skill of the workforce. And we have to be sure we have the system in place so that Vermont employers will have high-skilled workers.
And that's why a goal of the agreement calls for linking education with industry.
I think it's very important because if you don't link it, then you can have two separate developments. School and education is going in one direction and the workforce and the economy in the other one. And then to bridge this gap can become a very difficult task. So I think it's better to work to bring them together from the beginning on.
From here, the Austrians will head out to visit Vermont colleges, businesses, and the state's interactive television station. They'll wrap up their visit Friday with the formal signing with state leaders, the first step in this effort to form a world-class workforce. Bridget Barry Caswell, Channel 3 News, Essex Junction.
Good news for the workforce in Rutland. Business is better for the GE jet engine parts plant, and that means the first new hirings there in more than 10 years. GE Rutland says it expects to hire 10 to 20 new people in the next year. They say they've exhausted their list of laid-off workers being called back. Rutland's #1 employer says the demand for commercial jet engines has rebounded, and the demand is still growing. A GE spokesman said the new hires will only replace workers who leave through normal attrition. The workforce of about 1,370 people is not going to increase at all. Attention New York shoppers, a successful experiment last year is going to be repeated next month. That could mean deals for people shopping in upstate New York. Last January, most of the counties in New York suspended the sales tax on clothing and shoes for 1 week. Almost everyone reported higher sales.
It showed that sale of clothing that week was up by $175 million, that consumers got a $32 million tax break. Basically what it confirmed is what we all thought, that if you take tax off clothing, you're going to give the consumers a break, expand economic activity, and encourage people to go out and purchase because of the lower costs.
The state is going to again suspend the 4% tax for purchases under $500. That begins on January 17th. It'll last a week. The legislature would have to make any change permanent if they want to. Incidentally, New York Governor George Pataki's job approval rating has reached an all-time high. It is now 62%. New Yorkers do approve of his job performance, but they seem to think he should stay in Albany. Only 19% of those polled said he should make a run for the White House. The Republican governor has said in the past that he will run for re-election. The poll shows that Pataki would beat any potential Democrat in the race for governor. Here in Vermont, Howard Dean says he won't make a formal decision about a presidential bid until February of 1999. In an interview last night on Vermont Public Radio, he did talk about his potential campaign message for the country. He said the United States needs a different investment strategy, focusing more on children and families instead of issues like prisons. Dean said the country spends far too much time trying to fix problems after they happen. But again, that's 3 years away. J.J. Choppy's here now, and the Winter Olympics are just around the corner.
U.S. athletes getting ready for their trip to Nagano. One U.S. athlete is coming off quite a scare. Loser Duncan Kennedy was sidelined because of dizziness. Last week, he was cleared to resume racing. Before he headed out, he held a press conference this afternoon in Lake Placid.
When you've got something going on in your brain, flying down a hill at 85 probably isn't the greatest idea in the world, but I'm going into Calgary, and I'm trying it under the assumption I'm going to feel better.
And let's stay on the ice. Mark Zawacki will take a look at some young Olympic hopefuls. Who knows? One of these young skaters could set the record for the 1,500 meters or score the game-winning goal for the U.S. hockey team. Who knows? It all starts here. Also, the Red Sox are shelling out big bucks for Pedro Martinez, and Tom Osborne is stepping down at Nebraska. We'll have all of that, too.
We'll look for that at 6:40 when we come back. A Vermont business has become the subject of a national study on salmonella.
Hey, is that leather?
That's right. This is the new Subaru Outback Limited.
2 sunroofs. Nice touch. I hear it has full-time all-wheel drive.
Yeah. All's a turn better than a Blazer. Subaru Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon.
You know, the wife and kids would really like one of those.
Share the warmth of a wish come true at University Mall. Over 80 special shops and stores means you'll always find more fashions, more toys, more everything. When it comes to wishes, we make all your holiday shopping simple. And isn't that everybody's wish? That's my wish. For every wish, there's a perfect gift, and the best gifts are here.
Share the warmth of a wish come true, where convenience begins with you.
University Mall.
Tonight, how can the long-term use of alcohol affect your health? We'll have the answers from a major new study of more than 500,000 people on the CBS Evening News.
Vermont health officials confirmed today that a dairy farm in Fairfax will be the focus of a national study on salmonella next year. We told you last month about the Higher Hill farm. They lost 13 cows this spring after a deadly strain of salmonella called DT104 hit that farm. Several family members also got sick. One of them nearly died. The human outbreak was one of just 5 across the country. Now the Federal Department of Agriculture, along with the Federal Center for Disease Control, as well as several experts right here in Vermont, are going to take a closer look at what happened on the farm. The study will last the entire year and will focus on how the deadly strain got to Vermont, how it spread, and how it can be prevented. The Vermont Air National Guard's planning to clean up some hazardous waste sites on its base in South Burlington. An engineer hired by the Guard last night discussed recommendations for the cleanup. There are 4 sites on the base that are hazardous because of either soil or water contamination. The areas became contaminated when jet fuel was dumped there in the 1960s and 70s. The Defense Department ordered bases around the country to identify and clean up any hazardous waste created by the military.
It's not a health risk per se to anybody right near the base because it's not contaminating any kind of drinking water right now. So from a health priority, it's not that much of a hazard, but from a regulatory standpoint, we want to get it cleaned up as soon as possible.
The engineers are recommending a variety of cleanup methods for the different sites, ranging from removing soil contaminated to letting nature take its course with water contamination specifics near the Winooski River. Residents at the meeting said that's fine by them.
None of the drinking water in the area came from the Winooski River. I mean, water all got to the lake, and by the time it was there, it was probably pretty clean.
The public has 30 days to comment on the recommendations of the Guard's engineers. There could be some new federal money coming to Vermont to finish the circumferential highway around the greater Burlington area. That highway remains unfinished in places like Williston, and it is this section that could be the key to completion of the Cirque Road. Planning for it began more than 30 years ago. 4 miles of the circumferential highway were opened in 1993. Now the State Transportation Agency says the $80 million to finish the remaining 12 miles may be available over a 6-year period. Governor Dean's been insistent about the Williston leg. He says that a regional landfill should be built first before the state would fund that section of the road, and ultimately the governor says the legislature should decide how the money is to be spent. Voters in Burlington may be asked to approve money next March to turn the city's generating station into a source of heat. The McNeil Power Station produces electricity for the city and for other consumers when power is needed. Now the electric department in Burlington is looking into using hot water produced at the plant for heat. Steam heat that would be sold to the university, the hospital, Trinity College, and other schools. That would obviously save money for those institutions on their heating bills. A consultant says the plan could work, but it has not yet been approved. The plan would be completed in phases. The total price tag around $25 million. Burlington voters may see an item to that effect on the March city election ballot. And Vermont's 2 senators are once again lining up to defend the federal budget against cuts in a heating assistance program for low-income people. Last winter, about 13,000 Vermonters got $5.8 million in federal heating assistance. But there are rumors in Washington the Clinton administration plans to cut LIHEAP, the low-income heating assistance program, by 25%.
Jim's on the Finance Committee. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. We'll fight. We'll get money back in there. But I think when the administration knows we're going to do that, when they know that this is a case where people can actually freeze or eat, I mean, those are the kind of choices you get. We're going to put the money back in. So I wish they wouldn't do this. I wish they would work at having some stability in the LIHEAP program.
Senator Jeffords said the same thing. It's not too late for the president to do the right thing and leave the LIHEAP funding intact. We'll be talking about the cold with Sharon Meyer when we come back, including a storm.
Cold, yeah, that this storm may be staying to the south of us, but that doesn't mean that there isn't another one that's heading our way.
We're looking at both of them. Okay, we'll look at the weather when we come back. And a little bit later, is Vermont holding on to its rural character? We'll tell you what the latest research shows us.
This holiday season, come to Maryland's and be inspired by an extraordinary collection of jewelry, clothing, and accessories. Choose from incandescent freshwater pearls, hand-carved pendants, sparkling crystals, and artifacts from around the world. The clothing at Maryland's will give her a feeling of almost extravagant ease. Fluid velvets, luxurious chenille sweaters, and creative accessories. Set her apart with a gift from Maryland's, 115 College Street, Burlington.
Know someone who could use a nice home improvement gift? Come to the Home Depot. You'll find everything from convenient gift certificates to these Vermont American power tool accessories. They make great gifts for the do-it-yourselfer. It's all at the Home Depot, the toy store for big kids.
Tonight's weather is brought to you by your North Country GMC dealers, keeping you comfortably in command.
Sharon Meyer's here watching a couple of storms developing.
They're out there this year. They're definitely out there, but they've been staying to the south of us lately, and that looks like it's going to be the case again tonight and tomorrow. I still don't think we have to worry about a green Christmas just yet because we still have some of our old snow, and there is a little more in the forecast towards the end of the week. Now, this month, our snowfall has actually been fairly close to normal, 4.7 inches, but of course that November did bring us an awful lot of snow, so for the season to date, we are still running above normal by nearly 9 inches. The average temperature yesterday was 5 degrees below normal. It gave us 45 heating degree days. So far this December, it's actually been 3% warmer than normal, or you may have saved about 3% on your heating bills. On top of Mount Mansfield, the high temperature 21, the low 1 below, the present temperature 18. They've had no snow in the past 24 hours, but there is 45 inches of snow at the stake near the top of Mount Mansfield, and that does compare to just 25 at this time last year. In the mountains tomorrow, there is a chance for some snow in some of the southern mountain areas primarily. Here in the north, we may see a few breaks of sunshine. Temperatures not all that bad. Winds 10 to 20 miles per hour as you reach the summits. Temperatures are generally in the 20s, although we are finding a couple of readings dropping into the teens in northeastern New York. Messina reporting 19 degrees, as is Lake Placid. Down to the southern Connecticut River Valley, we're finding temperatures that are generally in the upper 20s. Now, we are finding snow along the northern fringes of this storm system. They've been seeing a changeover from the Boston area down through Providence and even into New York City. They started off with some rain earlier in the day, but it has changed over to snow. Here's the way it looks over the past 12 hours, and you see the rain moving up through Pennsylvania. It runs into that colder air, and then we begin to see a nasty mix where you see the orange stripe right here. That's the changeover zone, and the snow spreading into central sections of New York State and on up into some of the southern regions of Vermont as well. Well, the low last night in the Burlington area was 18 degrees. That is average for the date, and a record low of 9 below zero was set in 1958. Our high today, 24 degrees. That's colder than average. A record high of 61 was set back in that 1966. They had some really warm weather back then. Currently in Burlington under cloudy skies, our temperature is 23 degrees. The dew point is 19, the relative humidity 85%. Barometric pressure is falling. Winds are from the north at 9 miles per hour. Sunrise tomorrow morning will be at 7:29 and sunset at 4:13.
Power, grace, and style are the soul of a champion. The soul of every 1998 GMC truck. It's the formidable strength to conquer any task. The endless capacity for passengers and cargo. The redefinition of comfortable luxury. Uncompromising character is the soul of a GMC truck and the dealer who sells them. Test drive a 98 GMC truck today at your North Country GMC dealer, the truck experts.
Well, we do have the clouds out there all the way to the Canadian border, but the precipitation still a little ways away. Where we're expecting some of the heaviest snow is going to be in western sections of New York State. Right around in this area, they could be seeing about a foot of snow near Buffalo. There's a large area of clouds swirling around. We're finding a changeover to rain as you head into some of the southern sections. When we add in the radar, we get a better idea of just where that changeover is. And we've also been seeing a line of showers and thunderstorms developing down in Florida. Now, as far as we're concerned up here, take a look at how much cloudiness there is and keep that in mind when we talk about what's going to be happening over the next couple of days. There is an area of low pressure which is going to be moving to the south of us. Another low pressure system is going to be developing along the coast and carrying a lot of that energy off to the south of our region, and that's why we're not expecting a whole lot of snow here in some of the northern sections. But notice tomorrow we still have that primary low hanging around to the west of us, and this is actually going to be making another run towards the northeast, and this may actually be bringing us a little more snow on Friday. So Friday we actually stand a better chance of seeing snow here in the northern counties than we will tonight and tomorrow. So we'll be keeping an eye on this situation over the next couple of days and try to hone in on how much we're expecting for accumulations. There is the possibility for a few inches or more in some locations. Overnight lows tonight are going to be quite chilly up in northern Maine. 4 degrees, the expected low in Caribou. Bismarck expecting a low of 18 degrees. Dallas even 32 degrees. It's chilly down in the south. Daytime highs for tomorrow, 49 in Seattle, 74 in Los Angeles, 61 in Phoenix. 42 is the expected high in Dallas, so it is chilly down in the southern regions, but Miami, of course, expecting a nice 84 degrees. Well, taking a closer look at the forecast then for the rest of tonight, we can expect to continue to see quite a bit of cloudiness out there. There is a chance of snow. Now, those of you in southern regions south of Rutland and White River Junction, you have a better chance of snow than we do here in the northern regions. The overnight lows will be in the teens. For tomorrow, here in the north, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds with some flurries. Those of you in the south, you're likely to be seeing some clouds with a chance for a little more snow. High temperatures will be in the upper 20s to near 32. For Thursday night, we'll see variable cloudiness, and again, that means more breaks here in the north than for those of you in the south. Snow is likely in the southern regions, and the overnight lows are in the teens. Friday, snow is likely, and now we mean all of us. The high temperatures will be in the low 30s, and the extended outlook towards the end of the week, or the weekend actually, a mix of sun and clouds on Saturday, perhaps a few snow showers on Sunday, with a mix of sun and clouds again on Monday. So it really depends on where you are as to whether you're going to be seeing any accumulations at all. And in the short term, it's the further south you go, the worse the weather's going to be getting.
But a pretty good chance on Friday for all of us.
For all of us to be seeing a little more whitening to the scenery outside.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. How'd you like to forecast 20 years out?
I don't think so.
Difficult. I don't think so either. Our next story is a story that shows that the passage of time proves that government prognosticators rarely get it right.
Tonight's weather has been brought to you by your North Country GMC dealers, keeping you comfortably in command.
Celebrate the miracle of the season on the Church Street Marketplace.
The joy of the holiday season will be reflected in her eyes as she opens your gift from Primo's. Diamonds, gems, and gold. The very finest jewelry, expert advice, and on-site craftsmen. Primo Jewelers has been Burlington's premier jeweler since 1840. The beauty of the gift, Primo's bow on the gift box, truly says, Merry Christmas.
Be part of the miracle on Church Street this holiday season.
I own a small business.
So do I.
We all do.
If you own a small business, you really need a good health plan.
So call the Small Business Department at Community Health Plan.
You get a choice of plans and copay levels to fit your budget. Worldwide emergency coverage.
Great choice of doctors.
And great service, too.
So you can get back to business, and that's good for business.
So call the Small Business Department at Community Health Plan.
It's a great choice.
A great choice.
A handbook on Vermont state government in 1966 made a number of predictions about how Vermont would grow in the remainder of the 20th century. Those predictions were off the mark, and researchers updating the 1966 volume now say that in the last decade, folks in Vermont seem to be able to live out the dream of working urban and living rural. Tim Lewis has a report.
It's been more than 3 decades since someone pulled together all the statistical data on Vermont and how it works politically into a single volume. A new handbook on Vermont state government is in the making, and those working on the update are finding some mid-60s predictions miss their mark.
What is curious about his predictions is that his original assumptions about what was going to happen here generally are what Vermonters think happened. But if they take a long look at the census data, they'll find out that the popular myths really aren't true. The first and foremost one is that the rural communities have declined in Vermont. In fact, growth in the rural communities of Vermont since 1960 has been pretty steady.
4%, 5%, and 6% growth in each decade, and pockets of rural poverty are more difficult to find.
We used to take that dirt road on the other side of the river from Plainfield up to Marshfield, and you could, unfortunately, see poverty. At this point, there's $150,000, $200,000 homes going up along there. It's amazing.
Schmidt says Vermont has become a model of the rural renaissance movement, where people work in the city and live in the country. And he thinks that will keep Vermont's tradition of local government strong.
Certain things challenge it, there's no doubt, and I have no quarrel with Act 60. It does move us towards greater equality, but there's no doubt that Act 60 does challenge local leadership, local government. But I mean, it's so damned important to so many of us to keep these towns alive as decision-making units that I can't imagine that it's going to decline very dramatically.
Schmidt points out 12,000 Vermonters currently volunteer their time to work in local governments. And that's a good sign Vermont-style local control will continue into the next century. Tim Lewis, Channel 3 News, Montpelier.
Another portrait of how this state is changing. JJ up next with tonight's sports. Breaking news in football and baseball.
One of the big names in college football is calling it quits, and you're not going to believe the money the Sox are shelling out for Pedro Martinez.
Heritage Ford Toyota makes holiday shopping easy. Now through December 20th, get a $200 Church Street Marketplace gift certificate or a 19-inch color TV with your new or used car purchase. Just wait till you see the deals, like a 98 Toyota Tacoma 4x4 with a low lease price of just $229 a month for 36 months, or a 98 Ford Windstar GL, just $19,599. Ask about the great lease deals on Windstars. So what'll it be this year, more socks or a little something from Heritage? Heritage Ford Toyota, Shelburne Road.
According to our engineers, Toro snow throwers are designed to handle even the toughest snow with a throwing distance of up to 40 feet. But according to Bob from shipping, they can go a lot farther. Powerful, dependable, and tough. The full line of Toro snow throwers, now arriving at Toro dealers.
It's been a pretty wild couple of days in the Old Hot Stove League. Players coming and going from every direction. Rather quiet this afternoon, except for this. Red Sox pitcher Pedro Martinez, who they acquired in a trade last month from Montreal, told Radio Universal that he has agreed to a contract extension beyond next year. And the numbers are staggering. Let's put it this way. If the Sox need financing for a new ballpark, they can borrow it from Pedro. Martinez says he will get $75 million over 6 years. The Red Sox have 2 option years that could raise the deal to $92 million over 8 years. By far the biggest contract ever, exceeding the $11.5 million a year that the Braves' Greg Maddux is getting. Pedro's deal will average out to $12.5 million a year. Even Pedro says he's a little ashamed to say how much he signed for. But not that much ashamed. College football, stunning announcement out of Nebraska this afternoon. After 25 years, football coach Tom Osborne will retire after the Orange Bowl when his number 2 Cornhuskers face number 3 Tennessee. He had an irregular heartbeat problem this year, but insists his health is fine. But the hours needed to be the offensive coordinator and head coach are taking its toll.
So anyway, what I've come to realize over the last couple, 3 months is that I was not going to be able to sustain that pace for any great length of time. And so the question is, well, when is the right time? And I feel that, that this is the time that has to happen.
Fresh off the first road win of the year, the UVM basketball team will play their third game in 5 days tonight. They're in New Haven, Connecticut to play Yale. Vermont is coming off an impressive finish in a 95-59 victory over Holy Cross on Monday night. Their first win away from the Patrick Gym this year. The Cats are now 5-2 on the season. Girls high school hoop, Mount Abe at Burlington. Abe inbounds to Carrie Bouvier. That's 2 of the foul. Burlington spreads the floor. Margaret Garrett has some inside room. Michelle Cheeseman finds her for the hoop. Then off the dribble, Cheeseman finds Garrett again. Garrett at 12. Freshman Sharamont Solana led the attack with 21. Seahorses with the 46-39 win. Essex hosting BFA St. Albans. Katie Driver for the visiting Comets. What's Driver going to do? Drive. Won't go the first time, but gets the bound down. Then at the other end off the Hornet miss, BFA with a rebound, but the outlet stole it away. Maggie Triggs to future Catamount Libby Smith. That's as easy as a 4-foot putt. Well, for Libby, a 4-foot putt's easy. Hornets working around. Lindsay Bowler with a 3-ball. Hornets go to 4-0 on the season with a 40-point win. And it was CVU at South Burlington. Patience pays off. South Burlington's Jen LaValle alone on the right baseline, takes it and drains it. CVU got a little sloppy. The Rebels take advantage. Sean Carney with the steal down court gives it up to Abby LaPointe. That's good for 2 of her 10 in the game. Then it's CVU with the quick work. Shanda Lyman to Lisa Thayer. But a big fourth quarter, and the Rebels roll to the 41-27 win. Annabelle 13 points and 7 rebounds. Local college hockey action tonight has St. Mike's hosting Skidmore. The game should be getting underway just about now. The Purple Knights go into the contest with a 7-4 record. Freshman goalie Chris Yurko was named ECAC Central Rookie of the Week for the 3rd time this season. Yurko made 47 saves in 2 games. He leads the Central in goals against average, 3.56, and save percentage, 897. High school hockey last night, Mount Mansfield hosting Hartford. First period, Todd Nolet gets the puck, moves in, and scores 1-0 Hartford. We move on to the 3rd period. Sebastian Bradley skating, shooting, and scoring. 4-1 Hurricanes. They keep it coming. Dyer moves it up, lets it rip, far post. Hartford downs Mount Mansfield, 6-1. The latest in basketball coming up. Things got a little testy in the Knicks-Bulls game last night.
I don't ask for directions when I'm lost, and I don't read the instructions when I'm putting my kids' toys together. And I don't need help fixing my car. My friends, they go to Napa, where they get this expert advice from ASE certified professionals, which is great for them. They weren't born with the mechanical ability I was. If I can install a satellite dish, I can fix my own car.
Get Napa's Evercraft 10-piece screwdriver set for just $11.99, including a free multifunction tool.
Yes.
We have a problem, sir. Agway Energy Products now has over 600 technicians.
600?
Yes, sir. And they service most heating systems, even natural gas.
Well, if we can't freeze their customers this winter, I'm afraid someone else will pay.
For guaranteed equipment service, call 1-888-AEP-HEAT.
5 years ago, I never could have imagined that we could have a national chain of African-American-owned restaurants.
It has been a struggle here.
We are now taking Sylvia's, my parents' restaurant, national.
The state has a new attitude.
You have to make more gumbo?
This is a dream come true. The state have given the Queen of Soul Food a great chance.
My family started a small business, and I know what it takes to make it successful. Give us a call and find out more about our business programs.
Duncan Kennedy is one of America's big medal hopes in the upcoming Winter Olympics. A veteran slider on the U.S. luge team, Kennedy has been away from the track for more than a month because of dizziness and nausea. Last week, his doctors cleared him to return. At a press conference today in Lake Placid, Duncan spoke about his planned return to the track next Monday in Calgary.
And basically, it's just going to be a step-by-step process to see, first of all, if I can actually slide. Hopefully, I'll know within that first day or two, and then from there, if I'm able to slide, then I can concentrate on the race.
Kennedy's condition is related to a bleeding brainstem. He's cleared to compete, but there's no guarantee he'll be able to perform physically. Duncan admitted to thinking about retiring, but wants to give it one more shot.
it's not like it's extra pressure for me, but there's a lot riding on this race. There's Olympic team qualification. There are World Cup points, which matter for the seed in Nagano, which is very important. If I'm going to bother showing up, I really need to be in the seeded group. So there are a lot of factors involved in this race.
Our best to Duncan. And the Patriots will try to clinch a playoff spot on Saturday when they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they may have to do it without the services of two key players, running back Curtis Martin, still nursing the separated shoulder that kept him out of last week's game against Jacksonville, and wideout Terry Glenn still has an injured hamstring that threatens to keep him out of the lineup for the 5th straight week. Both are listed as questionable. The Giants have a big Saturday game, too. They're hosting the Washington Redskins with first place in the NFC East on the line. Injuries will be a key in this one. Of course, the Redskins lost quarterback Gus Frerotte and running back Terry Allen over the past 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the Giants are getting healthier. Running back Rodney Hampton could play for the first time since a knee injury shelved him during the 2nd preseason game. It's been a season of streaks for the Boston Celtics after winning 7 of 8. They've lost 5 straight. The Celtics back in the parquet tonight when they host Chris Ford. And the Milwaukee Bucks, Ford 4-1 against his former team. Let's go to Chicago with Michael Jordan's bronze likeness. Welcome the New York Knicks. 4th quarter, his statuesque presence is felt in at least the elbow part of it to Chris Childs. Childs throws the ball back at him and is ejected. All right, moral to this story. If a guy's got a statue in front of his gym, he's going to get away with a lot more than you are. Bulls win 100-82. Montreal Canadiens host the up-and-down St. Louis Blues tonight at the Molson Center. The Blues are on an upswing right now, winning their last 4. Montreal coming off a Monday night win against Patrick Roy and the Colorado Avalanche. Penguins and Kings scoreless in the first period last night. Penguins on the power play. Stu Barnes with man-up goal to give the Wobbly Birds the lead. 2nd period, Pittsburgh on a power play again. Rob Brown gets this one. Kings get a goal back, but the Penguins go on to win it by a score of 2-1. Future hockey stars join us next. They'll have to lose those baskets in hula hoops, but they're talking potential blue chippers here. Mike Gilligan, take note.
I'm a mom. I hold a full-time job, and Champlain offered a distance learning program that allowed me to go back to school.
SuccessNet is a distance learning program that allows me to take classes from home using my computer and a modem.
Through the Champlain College SuccessNet program, I've been able to attend college without traveling, and living in southern Vermont, that's been important to me.
I've taken day courses, night courses in SuccessNet, and that flexibility has helped me get a degree at Champlain College.
In today's sophisticated marketplace, the slightest glitch in the flow of information can ruin your business and ruffle your customers. Fortunately, one communications giant is fielding a solution. Bell Atlantic's team approach, a way for large and small businesses alike to customize plans to meet their needs, with suggestions on how to access new information faster and more efficiently. Tailored solutions that can expand your pipeline and eliminate potential bottlenecks. And integrated network service to ensure that the information you gather reaches the people who need it most. While things are happening. Bell Atlantic. We'll see you there.
Remember when you learned how to ice skate? Well, at Letty Park Arena, preschoolers are doing just that. Mark Zawacki tells us about it.
You want to skate on 2 blades, okay? No more marching when I say freeze.
These little icers are trudging their way through the basics. Before these 3 to 5-year-olds can skate, they have to get used to the idea of having ice under their feet first.
Milk crates are to build confidence, to give them a feeling of standing upright and moving. When they feel that they can hold themselves, we take the crates away, and lo and behold, there they go.
1, 2, 3. Bend their knees. Very good. Very good.
All this work doesn't come without some bumps and bruises. Once the youngsters are able to skate around on their own, they move on to the hula hoop. It's a fun way to teach them to keep their arms out to the sides.
All the teachers, when we do everything about fun.
The Itty Bitty Skating class is not only a great way for kids to learn how to skate, it's a lot of fun and very popular.
He seems to love it. He
has a great time. It's just a lot of fun.
Sit down. Are we hurt? No. So let's clap our hands. We're not hurt.
It's so much fun. Every class I come into is very different from the other. Every child here has a personality of their own.
How long have you been skating?
I think about a long time. It's a long story, bud.
It might be a long story. Wait, he's only 4. In Burlington, Mark Zawacki, Channel 3 Sports.
He's still talking, right?
I gotta tell you, if those kids are anything like me, ice skates and a hula hoop would add up to one thing when I was a kid.
Nothing but trouble.
Broken nose.
Right, exactly. Thanks, JJ. When we come back, some Ukrainian journalists are visiting Vermont. We'll hear from them and hear about them when we come back.
Tonight, is there love in the stars for the nanny?
My horoscope said that I would meet a beautiful brunette with an exotic accent.
Get out of here. Harry Hamlin guests. Then it's Murphy versus Olivia Newton-John at the auction of the century.
$1,000. Oh, well, now you're just throwing that grease money around.
All new Murphy Brown.
And after Public Eye with Bryant Gumbel, a frightened father.
He slipped.
An accident or child abuse.
Do you want to lose your son?
Oh, leave that.
A heart-wrenching Chicago hope. CBS tonight.
On the next Entertainment Tonight, Jane Fonda and Ted Turner on their million-acre ranch. It's a candid conversation with a famous couple about turning 60 and staying faithful.
You can't tell me you still don't have an eye for the lady.
Then it's the controversial Jerry Maguire scene that never made the movie, and only E.T. has it. Plus, how top teen magazines are trading in the waif look for size 14 supermodels. It's all coming up on the next Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight at 7:30 on Channel 3.
8 journalists from the Ukraine are winding up a 2-week visit to the United States. They stopped here in Vermont to see how reporters here do their job day to day. After stops in Washington and Pittsburgh, the group sat down this afternoon with a panel of Vermont reporters and some representatives of the Dean administration.
Fledgling environmental journalist organization back there, and so it's to exchange ideas to see how we work here, how that can be translated into their reporting experiences there.
The discussion ranged from Howard Dean's presidential ambitions to rolling blackouts and power shortages in the Ukraine, both sides exchanging tips on how to get to the bottom of those kinds of stories. It was generally agreed that access to government officials and independent information is a lot easier to get here in Vermont. The trip arranged by the USIA winds up on Friday in New York City, where the journalists visit a daily newspaper that serves the Ukrainian community in New York City. They learn how to cover...
Ukrainian Marcellus Parsons?
No, I don't
Somewhere?
know. I don't know. They learned how to cover skating at Letty Park. Right?
Yeah. that was incredible watching those kids. Weren't they something?
They were so cute.
They're going to be looking for snow tomorrow.
That's right.
Maybe.
There's people out there that have their ice skating rinks in the backyard trying to freeze them up. Temperatures in the teens tonight, not too bad. And the snow staying to the south, so good for those backyard skating rinks.
Great. Thank you both. Thanks for watching. I'm Marcellus Parsons. Good night.
Good night.
Have a pleasant evening.
Stay tuned for the CBS Evening News on Channel 3. Then an inspiring story about Barry Bostwick's real-life battle with cancer on Entertainment Tonight.
And here we have Mount Seymour.
Amazing.
Look at the head.
Which one's Chia Guy? Chia.
Chia Heads, the pottery that grows. There's Chia Professor, Chia Clown, Chia Kid, and Chia Guy. It's easy. Soak your chia overnight, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow.
Chia.
Chia Head, the monumental gift that grows.
And don't forget about Chia Pets.
Chia Pets and Chia Heads available at Ames, Brooks, Kmart, and Kinney. Betty, I'm home.
Randy, we just got a letter from Vicki from college to bring your new boyfriend home for the holidays.
Boyfriend, what's his name?
I don't know, but we've got to get started and decorate this place. Grab a jacket. We're going to MJ Designs.
MJ Designs?
Mom, Dad, we're home. I want you to meet Thurmond. He's staying with us the entire holiday.
Happy holidays, Mom and Dad, from MJ Designs.
Oh, no. Here's another one.
Don't short-circuit your holiday shopping plans. Take advantage of the Superstore's low price guarantee. We'll match any price offered by an authorized dealer in Vermont within 30 days. The Superstore is the only place where you can choose from all 3 satellite delivery systems, DSS, Primestar, and the Dish Network. And the Superstore has the area's best selection of the appliances you need for your home. Before you buy, you owe it to yourself to check out the Superstore.
You're watching Channel 3, WCAX, Burlington.
Is headed to trial as an adult for the shooting deaths of 3 Kentucky high school classmates. What's the matter with Boris Yeltsin? The Russian president's doctors order him to a hospital bed for up to 2 weeks. They say it's just a bad cold. And new research tonight on the health effects of alcohol. It's the biggest study ever, and some of the findings may surprise you.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. The Kentucky teenager charged with gunning down his praying high school classmates was brought into court today. It was a hearing to determine whether he would be tried as an adult. The legal standards for that are clear, and it didn't take the judge long to decide. CBS's Jim Axelrod is covering the case in Paducah, Kentucky.
Here we go. You could not see Michael Carneal's face as he was hustled out of court, but one look at the deputies gave it away. This was the boy that's put Paducah on the map.
Get out of my way! Back up. Better get out of my way!
Everything done in the courtroom this afternoon is confidential under Kentucky juvenile laws.
No one would confirm if the judge ordered Carneal tried as an adult, but just before the hearing, the sheriff sounded confident.
The 3 things that has to be proved is that he is at least 14 years old, that he was involved in a felony, and that there was a gun involved. It'll take about 2 minutes to prove that.
Michael, do you have anything to say? Michael Carneal is tightly guarded for his own protection in public, but not under a suicide watch in custody. The sheriff calls him a hurt little boy, just beginning to understand what he did.
I don't think he's insane or mentally disturbed in any way. Just think he's a highly intelligent young boy. I think he's a 14-year-old boy with probably an IQ of about a 20 or 21-year-old guy.
Up until a few days ago, the sheriff suggested more students might be arrested.
I have a gut feeling that somebody else was involved in it.
But no longer. Prosecutors are backing away, too.
Sometimes we have gut feelings about things that turn out to be wrong.
Investigators next hope to talk to Carneal's parents and several students wounded in the shooting. The sheriff says he has plenty of evidence to prove Michael Carneal did it, but still little to explain why. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Paducah, Kentucky.
The results are in from the largest study ever on the health effects of alcohol, good and bad. The research on 500,000 people appears in tomorrow's New England Journal of Medicine. CBS's John Roberts has the details.
This new study looked at the drinking habits and health of people aged 30 to 104 and found that on average,
the lowest death rates in this population of middle-aged and elderly Americans were in people who drank about 1 drink a day.
the study shows that people who consume 1 drink a day have a 21% lower risk of death than non-drinkers. When it comes to heart disease, they're 30 to 40% less likely to die. Those who benefit the most are people with a high risk of heart attack or stroke.
For people who have heart disease, I hope that they will talk with their physicians about whether adding a glass of something a day would be a sensible approach.
But for some people, the protective effects of alcohol are offset by its risks. Women who have even 1 drink a day increase their risk of breast cancer by 30%. And as the number of drinks increases for both women and men, so does the risk for other cancers, liver cirrhosis, alcohol abuse, and its consequences.
Alcohol abuse leads to more than 1.5 million convictions for drunk driving a year in the United States.
Former Health Secretary Joseph Califano is concerned that people particularly at risk for abuse, such as teenagers, might take away the message that drinking is good for them.
At the same time that we recognize that having a drink a day if you're 50 is great for your heart, or can be great for your heart, we should recognize that having a drink or 2 a day if you're 12 or 13 or 15 is not good for you.
Another group that doctors worry about, the elderly, who derive significant benefit from moderate drinking but are at high risk for abuse. More evidence that alcohol really is a Jekyll and Hyde drug and should be treated as such. John Roberts, CBS News, New York.
There are new questions and concern tonight about the health of Russia's President Boris Yeltsin. Yeltsin's doctors say they've ordered a hospital stay for a flu-like virus. They insist it is not serious. Others aren't so sure. CBS News correspondent Anthony Mason is in Moscow.
The Russian president's voice was audibly hoarse in his last public appearance yesterday. Under doctor's orders, Yeltsin was sent home from the Kremlin and out to the Barvika Sanitarium. The diagnosis, acute respiratory viral infection from a cold. Yeltsin's spokesman rushed to reassure reporters today that it was nothing serious. The president has his telephones with him, Sergei Yastrzemski said. He is not confined to bed, but he will not be allowed to go outside for some time. 10 to 12 days, in fact. The Barvika Sanitarium is where Yeltsin convalesced after last year's quintuple heart bypass. The American doctor who consulted on the operation said today Yeltsin would be fine.
Well, I'm sure they would call me if there's any serious heart problem associated with it.
But just the words, Yeltsin is ill, sent the young and impressionable Russian stock market into a spin, down 3%. Yeltsin had seemed reinvigorated of late, almost his old self. But on a trip to Sweden last week, where he reportedly caught his cold, Yeltsin at times appeared tired and confused. For starters, he called Sweden Finland, and then unexpectedly announced that Russia would cut its nuclear arsenal by a third. His spokesman said he misspoke. Yeltsin's absence from the Kremlin is always worrying. Russia tends to drift when he's away. Doctors here insist they're just being careful. But that caution reminds Russians their president's health remains very fragile. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Moscow.
Still to come on the CBS Evening News, child hostages and a murder suspect under siege. The second Oklahoma City bombing trial nears an end. El Nino in the Midwest and beyond. And fun makes a comeback in a place where it was banned for a generation.
When you have heartburn, indigestion, and pain, these won't give you complete relief. For your worst symptoms, none of these will give you fast relief. Problems this bad need the 100% solution. Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief, plus the medicines to relieve all your symptoms. Don't settle for some relief. Get the 100% solution, Alka-Seltzer. And for your worst gas pain, try Alka-Seltzer Anti-Gas Liquid Gel Caps.
Even small coughs can be irritating. So for fast relief, take Robitussin cough drops anywhere.
That the party of the first part did not intend for the party of the second.
I should have used Preparation H.
Well, you wouldn't be suffering now. Preparation H helps stop itch and further irritation with a soothing layer of protection.
I should have used Preparation H.
Stops itch, stops further irritation.
This is the sound of small businesses doing more business with Fridays free.
They're doing more because thanks to Sprint, all their long distance on Fridays is free.
While the rest of the week, they're still getting Sprint's low flat rates. Even better, call now and get Fridays free until the year 2000 with no term commitment. Call 1-800-598-5000 for Fridays free, only from Sprint Business.
What's believed to be the first major El Nino-driven storm to hit California last weekend is still moving east and still going strong. Today it dumped at least 6 inches of snow around Detroit and caused hazardous driving conditions and some flight cancellations across the Midwest on into the Northeast. In warm Orlando, Florida, a hostage drama is being played out tonight. At the center of it, a man with a gun and a long rap sheet holding 2 very young children captive. We have CBS's Art Rascone on the scene.
Police brought in an armored vehicle and SWAT teams today to deal with a man they say should have been behind bars. A suspected killer who continues to hold 2 children hostage, a 4-year-old boy and 2-year-old girl.
They've been fed, they're going to the restroom, things of that nature. So as far as we know, he's taken care of them in that sense.
The standoff started yesterday after police went looking for 39-year-old John Armstrong for allegedly killing a man. He sped away and eventually crashed his car and ran into a nearby house, where two mothers and their two children were playing. He let the women go, but held their children at gunpoint. Adrienne Phillips is the mother of the 4-year-old boy.
I love you, Michael.
Adding to police frustration, Armstrong is a career criminal, arrested half a dozen times over the past 2 decades. He just recently got out of prison again, serving only 4 years of a 12-year sentence, part of Florida's early release program.
You hope that some of these, especially the violent criminals, they stay in prison and do their full time.
Still, even with Armstrong's violent past, his family doesn't believe he will hurt the children.
So the kids is fine.
You don't think he'll hurt them?
No, he'll never hurt no kids.
The gunman spoke late this afternoon to his 12-year-old son, who said his father would eventually release the children unharmed. Now, police remain hopeful and are ready to wait as long as it takes, they say, to end this standoff peacefully. Dan?
Thanks, Art. Brad Gumbel expects to talk to the children's mothers on CBS's Public Eye tonight at 9, 8 Central Time. Fallout from the Asian financial chaos is hitting the U.S. economy. The government reported today that the U.S. trade deficit shot up 11% in the third quarter as Asians bought fewer U.S. exports. Wall Street was concerned today about the impact of all this on U.S. corporate profits.
Dilbert for Office Depot.
Dilbert, I'd like you to meet Ben, our newest fast-track manager.
Hi.
Ben has no real experience, but he's very tall, so we know he'll go far.
I also have executive-style hair.
We think it will turn silver.
Business doesn't always make sense, but Office Depot does. With over 7,000 different office products, plus guaranteed low prices and free delivery on any order over $50. Business is crazy, but Office Depot makes sense.
The forecast. No more than a somewhat educated guess. Those who trust it often wind up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Unlike others, we don't rely on reports of clear skies or dark skies in the market. Our mutual funds rely on simple, clear strategies that seek performance through discipline. We have no use for weather reports. We are not in the guessing business. AIM. Invest with discipline.
Ready to bust your bathroom clean?
Splish, splash, scumbuster in a bath. How was I to know there was a cleaning going on?
Get the cordless submersible Scumbuster and bust your way to an easier clean. Very clever, Black & Decker.
Grand cinnamon rolls from Pillsbury.
They're ready.
The most enormous, ooey gooey, luscious.
Should we wake the others?
Let them sleep.
Now with more cinnamon.
They're not just big, they're grand.
Alcohol. It might be good for your heart, but do the benefits give you a license to drink? Find out about the risks and how much is too much and your latest weather.
That's tomorrow.
On This Morning.
Lawyers for the defense are winding up their case in the Oklahoma City bombing trial of Terry Nichols. CBS News correspondent Diana Olick has been following the trial day to day at the U.S. courthouse in Denver. Diana?
Dan, CBS News has learned that after calling more than 90 witnesses, the defense is about to rest its case. The last witness on the stand is a woman who says she knows Terry Nichols better than anyone else. As a winter storm pounded the Denver courthouse, inside, Terry Nichols' defense heated up. Attorneys finally focused on their original argument that Nichols, a father of 3, was building a life, not a bomb.
Watch where you're going, you're the driver.
In the defense's strongest move yet, Nichols' young wife, Mara Fay, mother of 2 of his children, told the jury that 1 month before the bombing, Nichols and Timothy McVeigh had a falling out because she was jealous of their friendship. She told the jury, quote, "I'm the one that said I don't want Tim in our life anymore." In an interview with CBS News just before the trial, Mara Fay wouldn't say she still loved her husband, but she did defend him.
I know in my heart and my soul that this person that I married with, who is the father of these 2 kids, could not do such things. He wasn't there in the bombing. I mean, there wasn't no evidence at all.
Mara Fay's testimony is going very slowly because English is not her first language. She's a native of the Philippines. But the language of her testimony is telling. So far, she's only referring to Terry Nichols, the defendant, as Terry Nichols, not as my husband. It may be a way of separating the man she married from the man accused of mass murder. Dan?
Diana, you've been in the courtroom regularly. How effective has the defense been?
Well, in the past week, many people expected defense attorney Michael Tiger to really pull a rabbit out of his hat and somehow show that Terry Nichols didn't know what Timothy McVeigh was planning. But they really never did put any chinks in the prosecution's case, which was a very strong, effectual, factual, and unemotional case. They did, however, show that perhaps other people were involved in the bombing, and that could help Terry Nichols if he is convicted and if this does go to a sentencing phase. Dan?
Diana Orlick, thanks. American Jody Williams, in her international campaign to ban landmines, accepted the Nobel Peace Prize today at a ceremony in Oslo, Norway. Williams said her real prize was the treaty to ban landmines, recently signed by 122 nations, not including the United States. President Clinton paid a visit to a New York City neighborhood today that has been used before as a backdrop for presidential politics. A generation ago, the South Bronx was a symbol of urban decay. Today, President Clinton went there to talk it up as a success story of neighborhood renewal, accomplished largely through private investment, community involvement, and help from U.S. government tax breaks. First Lady Hillary Clinton was at the United Nations to launch the 50th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The First Lady said the world has run out of excuses for not respecting human rights, especially the rights of women. She said violence against women is a criminal matter, regardless of the culture in which it takes place.
Which at its first...
Now there's Plus.
Salad Shooter.
Presto Professional Salad Shooter Plus. Plus means big capacity and power. Special blades to point and slice thick, slice thin, shred, even ripple cuts.
Salad Shooter.
From Presto.
Good morning, America. How are you?
America's favorite overnight relief announces new X-Lax with Senna, a natural active ingredient.
Good morning, America.
Still works overnight, and 4 out of 5 users agree it's gentle. New X-Lax, so dependable, it's guaranteed.
Good morning, America. How are you?
New X-Lax with natural Senna.
Good morning, America.
Guaranteed.
How's Dad? He's holding up. A little misty.
I mean his headache.
He was really hurting. I gave him Tylenol. Extra strength.
He's okay?
Well, his headache's gone. As for okay...
For headaches, Tylenol is recommended the most by doctors.
How's your headache?
Oh, the head's perfect. The heart is aching just a little.
Me too.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
'Tis the holiday season, and what do we see? Everybody's decorating.
Pillsbury sugar cookies.
Just roll, cut, and bake, and the fun's up to you.
Well, I'm sprinkles and candies and cookies for you.
One turkey leg. Give me 3. Give me 3. Hello, Samsung. Oh, my goodness. Everybody's got one of these. Hold it, hold it. Call waiting. I take 2 calls at once. Ma, stop calling me here. No problem. 4 calls. Samsung. Look how tiny. Hey, can I order a pizza on this phone? Samsung, we're on a roll.
Samsung, advanced technology products to meet all your communication needs.
A huge jetliner is forced to the ground by this.
Never really thought that a bird would actually fly into an engine.
And it happens more than you think. Public Eye tonight.
Nearly 20 years after the siege of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and the taking of hostages, the U.S. and Iran are possibly talking to each other again. At an Islamic summit in Tehran this week, Iran's new president said the West isn't necessarily all bad. The U.S. State Department responded, saying it favors, quote, a dialogue between different civilizations, unquote. And as CBS's Tom Fenton reports tonight from Tehran, the gulf between civilizations is narrowing.
This is no longer Ayatollah Khomeini's dismally militant Iran, where fun was banned. Young Iranians are becoming more like young people everywhere, and they're tired of being told they have to wait for paradise to have a life. Iranian women are pushing the envelope and demanding the greater freedom promised by their new president.
He promised to do so many things for women.
And almost everyone now is more interested in soccer than religion. Iran's qualification for the World Cup finals next year produced the biggest outpouring of joy since the Islamic Revolution of 1979. What's more, women defied the religious authorities and crashed the men-only party in Tehran Stadium to welcome back the victorious team. Iranian businessman Sadek Sami says that was a revolutionary act.
That was a clear message that these people, the generation after the revolution, are not going to be pushed around. They want a proper government, they want a proper education,
and they also want normal relations with the rest of the world. Despite years of government-imposed anti-American propaganda, Iran's Generation X really likes Americans. The change is reflected in the attitude of Iran's new government.
I believe that after the Iranian new election, there was a new atmosphere, very positive one, that the United States could seize this opportunity. But contrary to that, they continued with their hostile policies, and we did not find any sort of change in their behavior.
The foreign minister says Iran could offer huge oil contracts to American firms, the sort of billion-dollar deals that now go to European companies because the U.S. does not allow Americans to do business here. From the American point of view, major problems remain before it can be business as normal. Among them, Iran's support for terrorism and its opposition to the Middle East peace process. But for the new generation of Iranians, the Ayatollah, who is buried here, is now history, and they are ready to bury the hatchet with America as well. Tom Fenton, CBS News, Tehran.
There were heated moments today at the end of the 150-nation Global Warming Conference in Japan. A U.S.-backed plan to cut industrial pollution ran into heavy opposition, especially from India and China. The U.S. wants the right to buy pollution credits from other nations. China says this is just a way for the U.S. to get around the pollution cuts. The delegates agreed to study China's objections. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration today approved the drug raloxifene, the first synthetic estrogen. Raloxifene offers some protection against bone disease in older women, but without an added risk of breast cancer. Another top college football coach is calling it quits. Tom Osborne announced he'll retire today after 25 years at the University of Nebraska. Osborne coached the Cornhuskers to 2 national championships and has a shot at a 3rd if the Cornhuskers beat Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. Osborne is 60 years old. He was diagnosed with heart trouble earlier this year.
It used to be a really powerful computer could cost, somewhere in the neighborhood of a few $100,000. But lucky for you, you were smart enough to wait. Because this gateway system is just $24.99, complete with the most powerful Intel chip available, the 300 megahertz Pentium 2 processor. Now that's progress. Gateway computers feature Intel Pentium 2 processors. Call us and we'll build a high-performance computer for you.
Bill, you forgot the recycling.
Bill's always been one to do his part for the environment. That's why he drives the new LEV Accord from Honda. It meets a 70% lower emission standard than regulations require, without any sacrifice in performance.
Huh?
Nice leg!
Thanks, Bill.
I'm sending this chainsaw-carved cowboy to New York City.
I'm sending an Arizona Christmas tree.
To Connecticut. Pecan pie for my nephews in Missouri.
If you can dream it up, we can pack it up and get it there at mailboxes, etc.
They told me next time send a bigger one.
Ready to bust your bathroom clean?
Splish splash, scumbuster in a bear. How was I to know there was a cleaning going on?
Get the cordless submersible Scumbuster and bust your way to an easier clean. Very clever, Black & Decker.
Today, people of all ages are out there doing, refusing to give in to the aches and pains of life because of an advanced medicine called Advil. The relief is glorious. Advil works fast, right at the site of arthritis pain, stopping it where it starts. Arthritis to muscle aches to headaches. Advil relieves all kinds of pain. Advil simply lets people do what they love to do.
Tonight's Eye on America digs deeper into the spate of recent stories about juvenile criminals committing, quote, adult crimes. There's a move in this country to try these children as adults and impose adult penalties. In Kentucky, scene of the high school shooting murders, a new law there allows a 14-year-old to be tried as an adult. CBS's Troy Roberts reports now on a murder case in Michigan where the adult on trial is even younger than that.
The defendant in this murder case weighs only 65 pounds, and he can barely reach the top of the judge's bench.
He had the intent to do it.
Nate Abraham is 11 years old.
He had the means to do it.
And he could face a life sentence in prison.
And he went and shot somebody.
Nate will be tried as an adult under a new Michigan state law that allows prosecutors, under certain circumstances, to seek adult penalties for children of any age. This is the first time it's ever been used in a murder case.
This is the first shooting victim.
Oakland County Prosecutor David Gorsica says the statute was designed for young alleged criminals like Nate.
This was a premeditated, cold-blooded act of killing, and we think this individual is a menace to society. He's dangerous.
The Pontiac sixth grader was arrested on Halloween for the shooting death of 18-year-old Ronnie Green. Prosecutors say Nate randomly fired a rifle from a wooded area, striking Green in the head as he stood in the store parking lot. The victim's father wants the boy to be tried as an adult.
I'm not going to see my son no more.
It turns out that this little boy has a long and troubled history. Over the last 3 years, prosecutors say, Nate has had nearly 24 contacts with police, including complaints of arson, larceny, assault, and threatening a 9-year-old at school with a gun.
I find him to be a nice little boy.
A nice little boy who's now charged with murder.
Absolutely.
Nate's attorney, Daniel Baghdad, says his client is too young to understand the ramifications of an adult trial.
I don't know whether he has yet been able to grasp the fact that he is being tried as an adult, and some of the penalties, if he's convicted of this charge as an adult, could be life in prison.
Do you blame yourself at all?
You know, some, but not all, because I've been there for him.
Nate's mother admits he has behavioral problems, but believes the prosecutor is unfairly targeting her son.
I wake up thinking about, you know, what they're trying to do to my son. For the rest of his life, he doesn't deserve that. That's a long, long time. That's forever.
Ronnie Green is dead now because of Nate Abraham.
Even if Nate is convicted, the judge can still decide not to sentence him to life in prison. He remains in the custody of juvenile authorities, but Nate wants to be home for Christmas. His mother told him that's unlikely. In Pontiac, Michigan, I'm Troy Roberts for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. Now here's Bryant Gumbel with a preview of CBS's Public Eye.
Tonight on Public Eye, the lure of skydiving at the ends of the earth and the tragic deaths of 3 jumpers at the South Pole this past weekend. Though most would never risk such danger, those who love the sport claim it's an irresistible high. We'll show you why tonight on Public Eye.
Public Eye with Bryant Gumbel tonight at 9/8 Central Time here on CBS. We hope to see you here again tomorrow for the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
You rely on them to get the story. Get it first and get it right. They rely on experience. Turn to the most experienced news team in broadcast journalism. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Experience you can trust.
Experience CBS News.
Looking for the perfect gift? Chia Herb Garden includes everything to grow fresh herbs in your own kitchen. And with the natural chia growing sponge, it's clean and easy, no messy soil. Place a moistened chia sponge in each clay pot, sprinkle on herb seeds, water, and watch it grow.
Chia.
Cooking with fresh herbs is healthy and makes food taste delicious. Look for Chia on the box. Chia Herb Garden, the gourmet gift that grows.
Chia Herb Garden's available at Kmart, Ames, Eckerd, and Kinney Drugs.
Ned and Stacy after Melrose Place, Monday.
This is the Fox News update. On the shuttle, more problems with that experimental satellite. The computer won't work, and now the crew is behind schedule. And Saddam Hussein welcomed back two sons-in-law who defected after the Gulf War. Then he had them killed. This has been a Fox News update.
In the penthouse of this research center, an innocent experiment has unleashed the ultimate evil. Pain. Now, for one scientist, the battle to save mankind must be fought through time itself on Friday, March 8th.
It wants our souls.
Enter a new dimension of hell. Welcome to Oblivion. Hellraiser, Bloodline, rated R. Starts March 8th.
At a height of 19 feet, the awkward-looking giraffe would appear to be at a disadvantage in the jungle. But in fact, his height is his greatest asset, allowing him to graze where others can't, easily survey the land, and take gigantic strides when threatened by predators. The preceding has been brought to you by the all-new Nissan Pathfinder, now with a higher stance and more headroom.
His job was to protect President Kennedy. 33 years later,
Fate has brought us together, Frank.
an assassin wants history to repeat itself.
That president is coming home in a box.
That's not gonna happen. And Secret Service agent Frank Horrigan,
I want to be assigned to the president,
will get a second chance to be a hero.
You're too close to all this, Frank.
Clint Eastwood,
You better pray I don't find you.
John Malkovich,
The clock's ticking.
Rene Russo.
Got him!
In the Line of Fire on the Fox Tuesday night movie.
Wanted. 15 or 20 million Americans willing to go on the adventure of a lifetime. If you're looking for excitement...
What is this, a loony bin?
World full of vampires.
Travel.
I suggest a response that harkens back to our childhoods.
And a real challenge.
Isn't the guys on the world filled with love-starved women?
Hang on. You're going on television's wildest ride.
Let's go.
Sliders. Premieres next Friday on Fox.